Washington, and I'm here to report on the Jap problem that we've got going on in Hawaii. The Japanese first came to Hawaii on May 5th, 1806, were survivors of the ill-fated ship Inawaka Maru after being aboard their disabled ship for more than 70 days. Now, an American ship captained by Cornelius Soule rescued them, and on May 5th were dropped into Oahu, Hawaii, and were left in the care of King Kamehameha the First. He had a house constructed. He had a house constructed for them. He had 50 men get together and make a house for them. How amazing is that? They did eventually have to leave the island and go back to Japan, where they did perish. But they weren't to know that in later years, the Japanese immigrants would be recruited by the Hawaiian business owners and made to sign long-term work contracts. The land was controlled by large commercial interests, so it was hard for the Japanese to have their own lives for themselves. They chopped and weeded sugarcane on fields. Lives were controlled by plantation owners. Each planter had European American overseers to enforce company rules, and they imposed harsh fines or even whipping for talking, for smoking, and for pausing to stretch in the fields, which they deserved anyway, because we don't like them Japs. They lived in company housing and shopped at company stores. Deserters would be jailed, and many fled to the mainlands for the bad treatment that they were receiving, even though they deserved it. But even though I'm not really seeing the problem here with these Japanese in Hawaii and their working conditions on the sugar and plantation fields, how can you justify acts like these, the way that the Japanese are being treated?
But they didn't have to face the sense of isolation and fear of racial attacks that was prominent on your west coast. And their traditions got put into the new homes. They had temples, Buddhist temples, built onto the plantations. And no one had to work on November 3rd, which is the day where they celebrate the birth of their emperor. So, you know, I think you're just being a little harsh on the situation.
Well, that's your opinion. Anyway, back to you, Monique.